Hey, I'm back. I'm back, people.
Get through all the homeworks for CS50. The first thing over a couple of tips that will help you get through all the homeworks for CS50. The first thing I need to do is obviously watch the lecture. I know it seems obvious, but when you're watching a lecture, just pay attention and see if you can understand what the instructor is saying. Your goal while you're watching should be to understand. This is not a podcast. This is not for entertainment purposes. You have to watch, and if you don't understand, rewind a minute, 2 minutes back. Obviously follow along with the code. So whatever the instructor is talking about, just in your VS Code, go ahead and write it off. Don't just copy it off the website. There's really no point in copying it. You're not really learning much. The point here is for you to actually write it and develop the muscle memory that it takes and remember the commands, remember the functions. When I took the course, I honestly had to watch most of the lectures twice. So the first time, go ahead and watch it in the regular speed. The second time around, you can watch it in up to 1.75 speed. This just fills up a lot of the holes that you might have in your memory. Maybe when you watch a lecture, you understood everything makes sense, but when you sat down and started to work on the homework, all of a sudden you forgot key concepts. So by watching the lecture again, you're just basically remembering what you already knew before. How to implement the code. So when I took the course, the jump between the lecture and the homework was actually huge. In those days, it wasn't very clear how to get the problem sets done. You were kind of just left to figure things out on your own. I would just start the P-set, maybe get one of the specs correct, and then I would get stuck on the problem for the rest of the day. Luckily for you, CS50 in 2023 has finally figured out that people are trying to take their codes, but they're all dazed and confused about how to do the homeworks. So what they've done is they've created 2 intermediate steps in between the lecture and the final assignment for each week. And if you're able to complete those 2 steps, and you should be able to complete them because they're fairly easy compared to how the course was last year, once you get to the problem set, you should be good to go. Start doing the preset, implement one spec at a time. Usually these homeworks have 8, 12 different things that you need to implement. Start with the easy ones. Start with 1, 2, 3, as many as you can get, and run the checker and see how many you get in the green. So what I would do when I hit a wall was to, number one, take a break. A lot of times I would hit a wall after hours of coding, so the best thing at that point was just to let go of it and just go outside. A lot of times I would come back, look at the code again, and notice really minor things that I missed the previous time, and I would be able to fix them and implement them, and everything would be good to go. Usually, many times when you're tired and you can't really focus well, and you really need to be on the top of your focus in order to get to implement a lot of these things, which can be fairly complicated. If by now you still can,
Which is what I did. If I was like feeling exhausted, I was like, nothing's gonna get in. I was just like, might as well take a nap.
not figure
Like, if you drink coffee, sure, you can drink coffee, but nothing beats sleeping.
out the P-set, the first thing to do, again, would be to try to find the part in the lecture that talks about the concept that you're trying to implement, rewatch that part, and again, see if you can implement the code from the lecture on your own. Usually that could be enough in order to get you unstuck. And obviously, a lot of times, the homework is just a combination of the core concept that was taught in the lecture with a spin. Usually that spin is some type of clever math that you have to do, or maybe you have to use some kind of function that maybe it's in the manual, but it's not in the course itself, things of that nature. This is where I would recommend not to go out and trying to implement your own program. Don't do that because you're just going to get lost. You're going to go off the path. You're going to go and learn now about whole different things that doesn't necessarily have to do anything to do with the course and with the assignment. Try to stay within the boundaries of the code that's presented in the course. And if you're still feeling stuck and you watched it a few times and you took a break, then the only real option for you left is to seek help. There are many places online where you can post your code and people will comment on it and give you the hint that you need in order to complete the assignment. On the screen here, you see the 2 main places where I posted my code when I had any questions. And usually people will answer here and tell you where you need to go, what you need to learn, without actually giving you the answer for you to copy off of. So I'm fairly confident that by now, you should have at least gotten 70% of the homework correct. And that's really all you need in order to submit it. You don't actually need to get the entire assignment correct. When you finish the course, your certificate will not have the grade on it. It'll just say that you passed the course. So if you're at the point where all you have is 70% of the assignment correct, go ahead and submit it. And after you do that, you can go on YouTube and find one of many different videos that show you the solution for that week's problem. And therefore, you have a win-win. You submitted the assignment correctly, while at the same time, you will get the opportunity to learn what you missed. In this video, I want to show you the 5-step approach to getting hired after CS50. let's get right into it. The first thing that you need to do is to get into the right mentality. You need to, which includes your portfolio. You need to take all the assignments from CS50, especially the final project, the project from the week before that, the financial app, and also you need to take the site that you made, I think it was during week 7 when you learned HTML, JavaScript, CSS. You need to take those 3 and you need to put them in a portfolio which tells the story that you have completed these projects. Now, you shouldn't just write that you completed these projects. You should tell the story that completing these projects was very challenging and that you managed to overcome those challenges and you managed to complete and deliver the projects on time anyways. This is a key point because this is actually showing people that you are valuable in SMA. The website really is a complement to the CV. There, people can see your activity. People can see how long you've been here on the link. So once you have all your documents, you're ready to present your case to the recruiter. You're ready to tell the story that I am valuable by showing that you came well prepared to the meeting, that by showing them your projects and that you've delivered, by showing them that you don't cut them off and you don't speak a lot and you're composed and direction all the interview. Your job is to show that you are a decent human being and that they should be working with you. I will leave a link at the bottom here also to a couple of videos that I have on this topic where you can see in detail some more techniques on how to really recommend to you that. So the first thing that you need to stop doing at your job interviews is talking so much. Just be quiet. Listen to the recruiter. Let him open the topics in the direction that he wants and use the information that he's giving you on the spot against him. What do I mean? For example, let him talk ahead of what the position is. Even if you already know what the position is, just let him talk about it again. And you know what? When it's your turn to speak, you can use the keywords that he used in the description and the body language that he used while he was talking in order to match your response to his query. When we stop trying to say the right thing, we open ourselves to be able to listen and we open ourselves to the wisdom of the moment. What do I mean by that? What is the wisdom of the moment? Every moment throughout a conversation, there is new information that you, when you're talking about your previous education, when you're talking about your previous experience, do not say anything along the lines of, I have a lot of experience, I have a little bit of experience. Don't say any of that. Just list in a very factual manner what your experience is. Let the recruiter interpret that however he wants. You know why? Because if you say that you have a little bit of experience, that can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. What's a little bit of experience to you could be a ton of experience to someone else. Analyze the information for the recruiter. Just give the recruiter the raw information, your facts, and let him come to his own conclusions. Don't give him your conclusions because conclusions are subjective. Everyone could come into a different conclusion. In your CV, and you wrote that you have a bachelor's degree in a certain field, yet you didn't actually finish your degree. Don't talk about your degree then. Gloss it over. If they're going through your CV, talk about it extremely briefly, 1 sentence maximum, and then move on to the areas that you're strong about. Always focus the conversation on the areas that you are the strongest in and keep all the cans of worms shut in the areas that you do not feel comfortable in. Tip number 3, do not focus on the tasks or on the knowledge that you acquired either in your previous experience or in your education. Focus on your achievements. So if you're talking about your previous job, don't tell them about all the little menial tasks that you did for your boss. Instead, tell the story through the lens of someone who is accomplished, someone who achieved goals on behalf of their previous employer, someone who the previous employer went to whenever they needed something really important done that you're interviewing for would be more than lucky to hire you. They're the ones that are going to benefit from the transaction. Tip about, because now he's going to develop a negative reputation. Do not speak negatively about your previous boss or your previous
on. Let's go ahead and try it. Looks like.
Sounds good. I will need this by the end of the day today.
Tight deadlines, I love it. I'll get right on it.
Bye-bye. Okay, so now I know what the stakeholder needs, but I don't know where to get the data. Let me go contact another analyst who I think might actually know where this data lies.
Let's go ahead and try author import. Like they said, they have. Okay, let's get started. Now that we know where the data lives in the database, let's go ahead and use SQL to explore it. That way we can bring it into our computer using Python, and from there we can go ahead and create a quick report by the end of the day. Today. Because we need to get something out by the end of the day, let's not
Hello. Yeah. So I think we're just gonna be interviewing tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just gonna focus on what to do. It's been good, 25 minutes just focusing on the floating portion of the lecture 0. Yeah, we'll figure out. We'll get up early and do the interview prep tomorrow. Might stream it, might not. Probably will, so you can think how bad I sound. Yeah. Okay. See you guys later.